Starting. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, hello. This is Ignacy from Portal Games.
And this is the Podfather of Gaming, Stephen Bonacore. You are listening to Board Games Insider, episode 246. And we're recording it on August 31st, 2022. Board Games Insider is a proud member of the Dice Tower Network. And I finally know what it's like to be Tom Vassell. Since, like Tom and his team, you and I are recording episodes of this podcast 2 days in a row. That's a lot of recording, and I think that's a first for us. I don't think we've ever recorded back-to-back days of the podcast, have we?
I think that now we are confusing our listeners a lot. Guys, for you, it's 1 week after 1 week. But
that's
for
right.
us, we are doing it in a row. I think that once or twice, and I think that we used to record the 2 shows in a row many years ago.
No? You're crazy. That's what you did with your team, maybe, but not with me. No way.
Maybe I was dreaming about this to record more with you. I don't know.
That's right. That's probably right. I'm even wearing the same shirt as I had on in yesterday's episode because I only wore it for an hour. So I'm like, I can wear this again for this episode. So just in case people are that smart and they're watching it on YouTube and they say, "Whoa, Bonacore, he wore that shirt all day yet?" No, I wore it for 1 hour. Put it to the side, and I'm wearing it again today. And then I'm going to throw it out. We'll throw it.
That was
throw in the laundry.
That was extremely important update for our listeners.
Absolutely, Bonacore is very clean.
Our podcast is getting better and better. We will win this golden geek, like with this new content, these new updates. Very important
updates. I'm going to talk to you about my personal hygiene next. Things like that. All right, tell us what's happening at Portal Games. Or not, if you don't want to. If you want me to just talk about my underwear next or something like that.
No. So what's happening at Portal Games? Our listeners, I'm going to save you. No Steven talk. Now it's Ignacy talk. And Essen, as always, coming right now. Maybe you even hear in the background another meeting in the office just finished about the Essen. So the team is preparing everything. All the booth furniture, all the booth construction. Today I was part of the meeting for the how many games to bring. Let's discuss this because we are here to educate our fans and to entertain them with the behind the scenes knowledge. So we as a publishers, and Steven can confirm, we never know how much product we should bring. Sometimes we bring too much, and therefore you pay for the logistics, for the transport, and then you have to unload it, and then you have to pay for shipping it back to the warehouse. So it sucks. But if you bring not enough, it also sucks because you could spell more. So luckily for the companies like Portal Games, like Stronghold Games, the companies that are for many years on the market, we have the data. We have all the history of the previous Gen Cons. We have the history of the previous Essens. We see the pattern. We see how many evergreens sells at the shows. Not many. How many new releases sell depends of the hype of the game. So we have all these different data. We compare different years, and then we decide how much pallets we need to bring. And these are the big numbers. For Essen, we're discussing like 20 and 30 pallets of different products. So there's a lot of product. It's a big show in Europe. So this was happening exactly today in the office. And speaking about Essen, we are releasing 4 products. As I mentioned in the past episodes, we have a new 2-player game called Basilica. If you like tile laying games, if you like area control games, Basilica will be your release of the Essen. We have a Wrath of the Lanterns, the solo campaign. I mentioned the last episode. That is for all of you who play solo. This is amazing 14 scenarios campaign that you can play over and over, playing Empires of the North. And today I'd like to discuss 11, as we had a couple of months ago, the GameFound campaign for the 11. This is the business simulation, this economic game, but you are running the football club. So you are going to hire the employees, you are going to build your offices, you are going to build and upgrade your stadium, you are going to transfer players, all the jazz, all of the things of running the company, but this company is your football club. And we had a very successful GameFound campaign, and now we are in this position to deliver to backers the game and release it to the retail. So If you are interested in the economy games, if you're interested in the strategy games, this is something for you. Of course, I guess if you're a football fan, you already backed the game, you already are waiting for your copy. But if you are not into the football, it is a solid, amazing strategy game with just a few actions. You have to be very efficient in what we are doing, and you, as with every single good game, you want to do everything. You want to upgrade your stadium, you want to have the best team, so you want to transfer players, you want to have best directors, best doctors, best fitness trainers, you want to do everything. There's no time for everything. There is no time for everything. So therefore, you have different strategies, different tricks how to win the game. So 11, please check it out. There is a Board Game Geek page, obviously, for the game, so you can check out the presentation of the game. And if you were a backer, if you supported us, I appreciate you, and I want to inform you that we are very, very close to deliver the game to you. So this was happening. 4 new releases for Essen. Lots of serious discussions in the office about transport and product and tickets and parking tickets and hotels and all that jazz. Is a huge operation. We have 8 people going to Essen from our offices. So there's 8 people here from Poland, and then we have obviously amazing supporters and volunteers on site helping us demo games and unload the truck and load the truck, etc., etc. So this was happening. Besides a very important update, I know that Steven was waiting for this particular part of the podcast. Yesterday in the evening Polish time, Poland kicked USA volleyball team. We won 3-1. So you won 1 set, we won 3 sets. That was amazing evening for me. American, you did your best, but it was not enough.
Look at my face. Do I care? Do I care? Now, volleyball is actually it's a fun sport to watch. I prefer the actual 2-on-2 beach volleyball. I think that's even cooler. It's like faster, if you know what I mean, right?
Sure.
But I've watched the 6-on-6, and that's what they're playing, right? The full volleyball. That is very cool. So it just doesn't excite me hearing you talking about it, but I would turn it on every once in a while to watch such a thing. So maybe I should have watched Poland versus USA. Sorry, I did not. Congratulations on the win.
How's the situation with the Artemis engines, NASA, and etc.? Do we have any updates?
We'll get to that in just a second, but first I'm going to continue to pitch to all the listeners out there, Podfather the cruise. I really hope that you would think about joining us on this cruise where all the net proceeds are going to charity. It's in January 7th through the 15th, 2023. So it's only like 5 months out. And we are going to close the window to register in October. Like after Essen, it'll be closed. You can't register after that. We'd love to get a few more cabins booked. That'd be great. Maximize the amount of money we give to charity. And that's what it's all about. 8 nights going all the way to South America. Think about it. That's a bucket list, right? You're hitting a new continent. I've never been to Aruba and Curacao, which are right off the coast of South America. So I hope that some more people can go check it out with us. Come over to the Podfather of Gaming group on Facebook and go to the event. It's pinned right on top, or you can go to Tabletop Events. Right, that's the place that BGG Con runs its events. Lots of Dice Tower runs their cons there. So you can go there as well, and you can search for our cruise, which is one of the events that is now posted. The Podfather, the cruise. So hopefully you'll do that.
I must say that if not the flight from Poland to Florida as a first step, I would strongly consider it. So all of you who live already in America, who have a better chance to use this great opportunity, I strongly recommend. I was seriously considering, but then I said, no, I'm not going to fly so many hours just to be there for this couple of days. But it sounds so amazing.
Yeah, that it is a long flight. I don't blame you for not going. And remember, everybody, that the charity portion is going to Ukrainian humanitarian relief. So good cause. Before I get into the Artemis and the trips, I want to mention something that Paula and I found due to a recommendation, a TV streaming show that Paul and I found due to a recommendation. And at first I heard about it. I'm like, I never heard of this show. Why would I want to go and listen to this show? It's about vampires. It's a show about vampires that had like 3 or 4 seasons. It's called What We Do in the Shadows. And it's a mockumentary. Do you know what that is? Have you heard of this, Ignacy? You see,
I'm watching this show. Yes, it's here.
Oh my gosh. This is the most ridiculous, funny, fun show you can possibly imagine. What We Do in the Shadows. It's streaming on Hulu, at least in the United States. I'm not sure.
In Poland, and maybe in the rest of the Europe, is on Disney Plus.
Okay. It's like I said, a mockumentary. So it's a documentary about how vampires are living in Staten Island, New York City. And it's just ridiculous. Like the vampires are just crazy and dumb. And the human guy that is their familiar, their servant, he's the only smart one of them. It's hard to describe it. And it's a serial, so that every episode builds on the next episode, and they keep the same themes and threads going on as they build the show over time. Can't not recommend enough. And each episode is only a half hour, so they're really quick.
That is what I was going to say. Just guys, just check it out. Like, it is a half hour of your life, and either you will say not for me, and you just lost half an hour, or you will get sucked into it, and you'll have a great time. I confirm. I just click it by accident, and then oh my god, this is funny. This is
so crazy. Very dry humor. No laugh tracks, of course, because it's a documentary in air quotes there. So check out What We Do in the Shadows, streaming in the US on Hulu and maybe Disney Plus in Europe. Regarding Artemis and my trip there, so NASA had this press conference yesterday, and they announced the second launch attempt. Not for Friday,
not the
but
Monday.
for Saturday, not for Monday, both of which were possible for Stephen, but for Saturday. So very sadly, I will not be able to go back up to the Kennedy Space Center to see this, because where I'm going to be is I'm going to Key West for the weekend with some local friends, the Phelpses, and some other people. So sadly, I won't be able to go. They still don't know exactly why the Engine 3 is not chilling down correctly. They believe it very well could be a sensor issue. If it's a sensor issue and the engine is chilled, well, there's nothing they can do. It's try to replace it, but they'd have to roll it all the way back to the vehicle assembly, and then they wouldn't launch for months. So they're working on various ways to see if it is that or not that. They're changing the countdown. They start X number of hours before the actual launch when they start their, what they do, and when they do these chills and this and that. So they're going to be starting an hour before that to do a few other different things to see if it changes the status of Engine 3 and the other engines. So let's just say go Artemis. I'm very excited that it's going. It's more important that it goes than that I see it. Really, I was going to ask if you should ask the whole community to root for you that they will not launch on Saturday, and you have another window for you. No,
you should not. Okay,
I'm not. I want it to go. See, I'm a team player here, Ignacy. Team Artemis. I really want this to go, because if it goes, that's a huge step, and it's successful. The whole trip, which is a 42-day mission, they're going to be staying out there for a while, really putting the whole thing through its paces, trying to make sure every piece of the system works in an extended mission. They would not normally do that, certainly for the first manned mission. They're not doing a 42-day mission, but they're going to do this with the unmanned mission to make sure everything is working great. I want it to go. Light that candle. Let's get it going. And then maybe we'll be back on schedule to have the next one in 2024, which is manned, in 2025, when we actually land back on the moon with the first person of color and the first woman, which is going to be wonderful. Key West for the weekend, I said, and then only 4 weeks to the World Series of Board Gaming, where I hope I'm going to see some people and I'm going to witness the first world champion of board gaming win $25,000. You can probably still go get tickets. They won't be for the actual ring events, but you can probably still get tickets just to come hang out, have a drink with Bonacor. Let's play a game if we can. In the meantime, the event deck. Ignacy, so you put this interesting thing here about Magic the Gathering and bubble tea.
I don't even fully understand the news, but I found it very interesting. There's like a branding a tea with the Magic the Gathering. Do I understand it correctly?
So
what the hell is that?
This was posted by Gang Cha Australia. I don't know. I guess that's the name of this company. Yes,
the tea company. Yeah,
it's a tea company, obviously in Australia, and it says, "Attention, bubble tea fans! We've teamed up with the world's greatest trading card game, Magic the Gathering, to create drinks inspired by our favorite planeswalkers from the upcoming set release Dominaria United." And this was just posted 3 days ago.
Yeah.
They're available in Gangcha stores across Australia from today until September 12th. So our Australian listeners, please run over to Gangcha stores in Australia and get one of their Magic the Gathering inspired bubble teas. And by the way, for store locations, you can check out gangchatea.com.au, store finder there, to find this out. And they're showing this cool picture of like a
drink,
a lion, right? First of all, who's holding? He's like, I guess, maybe what are those lions called that have, I don't know, whatever. They're showing these really cool Magic the Gathering style pictures with bubble tea. Ignacy, do you drink bubble tea?
Absolutely no. This Greece. I only drink a regular tea, not some stupid iced tea, bubble tea, southern tea, or whatever. Like, stop using tea for different drinks than a tea. This is my message to all the drinkers. But I put this news as a joke, but to show that if we go further of what we dream as being more and more mass market and going to the just regular customers in regular stores, this is what will be happening. Like, you Magic the Gathering the tea, Magic the Gathering ice cream, whatever. Like, this is us geeks getting this very strange, unusual branding cooperation. So we need the feedback from our Australian listeners, how it tastes, if there was a big line to check it out, and if they are excited about this.
I find bubble tea rather disgusting myself. I don't like it. Those little balls that are in there. It's like, no, thank you. So, but if you like it and you're in Australia, or even if you don't like it and you're in Australia, please go have one and post about it. All right. Now, this is interesting. On the subject of Magic the Gathering, Disney is taking on Magic the Gathering. Listen to this article. Ravensburger announces Disney Lorcana, a new collectible trading card game. So Ravensburger announced Disney Lorcana, a new collectible trading card game, which will release into retail in the fall of 2023. Ravensburger has thrown its hat into the TCG market in a big way, using its bevy of Disney licenses. Their new Disney Lorcana TCG will feature fan favorite Disney characters in their familiar forms on cards, as well as reimagined versions. It takes place in the magical world of Lorcana and is designed for players of all levels of card gaming experience. The initial set will be entitled Disney Lorcana, the first chapter, and will be released internationally. Ravensburger recently released Star Wars Villainous, Power of the Dark Side, a new Villainous board game. So this is really interesting. I mean, as we know, Magic the Gathering owns the market, right? I mean, dominates the trading card, collectible card game market. Nobody is even remotely close. I believe Pokemon is number 2, and also owned by Wizards of the Coast, right? Yu-Gi-Oh is number 3.
Number 3, I think.
But it's Magic, and then like those couple, and then everything else that doesn't even matter, essentially. I mean, I'm sure several are published, but they sell very, very small in comparison. So Ravensburger has decided to take them on. I find it interesting. Or, I mean, maybe take them on is a strong word. Maybe it's just, well, we're going to put one out too and see if it works. If anybody can do it in this industry, it would be Ravensburger, right? Ravensburger, we call them the Hasbro of Germany. They're a very large company. They do mass market and they do hobby market. So they've got the whole spectrum. I'm excited to see what they come up with. I personally know that the Villainous games are good, and the Villainous Star Wars Villainous was very good. I played that one recently. I like that more than the Disney Villainous. What do you think about this, Ignacy?
Yeah, this is super interesting. The article on Polygon by Charlie Hall has a very interesting title, because it says Disney will launch a new card game to go up against Magic the Gathering. So the title suggests there will be a combat, there will be a struggle, there will be these two card games fighting for the customers. I'm not sure if this is true, because later in this article, Charlie says that Disney Lorcana will be a family-friendly collectible trading card game. So I'm not sure if it will be that complex as Magic the Gathering. Obviously, now it's just speculations, we don't know it. But if Disney IPs and this phrase family-friendly collectible trading card game, I think it may be more for the mass market, like more like a Pokemon. So I'm not sure if they are going against Magic the Gathering, but very interesting. We see over the past few years when Ravensburger started releasing these IP games, because they started a couple of years ago with this, you mentioned Villainous, but they did a couple of other games. They did a Shark game, they did a few other based on the IPs, and now they're apparently having very strong relationship with the Disney. And with the Disney, you have a lot of resources, and combined with the Ravensburger know-how and distribution models and everything, you have two very big parties that they can really pull off something extremely interesting. I'm eager to see what will happen. We see a lot of card games in the market, like so many video games being just card games. So there's definitely lots of gamers playing these e-games, and now the new one, interesting.
Yeah, and the article, as you mentioned, on Polygon.com from Charlie Hall, makes this sound more like a partnership, not just like, okay, well, we have access to the Disney IPs, so hey, Disney, we're now going to use it for this. But it sounds like Disney is more integrally involved, which makes this even more interesting, right? So if Disney is really part of this in a material way, and maybe we'll be promoting it, right, and things like that, this could be a bigger thing than just a release by Ravensburger. You see what I'm trying to say there?
Yes, you are trying to say that, for instance, the World Championship of this card game next year will be held in the Disney World, for instance. Like all these different incredible possibilities having Disney as a partner, something that it is impossible for other publishers.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think this is something that we should watch for quite some time. So you also have something here you put down here that about Kickstarter's new director of games will fight the growing lack of trust in the platform. I did notice this coming up, and I didn't grab this. I should have grabbed this this article myself. Ignacy, you want to take us through this, so I can go through it if you'd like?
Yeah. So once again, let me start with the title of the whole piece on Polygon. The title says Kickstarter's new director of games will fight the growing lack of trust in the platform. So first of all, I would love new director to improve on the features and functionality of the platform, and then just fighting the lack of trust. But indeed, in the past few months, we reported all this Bitcoin and chain, some things, and there was a lot of discussion about the Kickstarter. And when the GameFound platform started this 2 years ago, we were thinking, oh, this platform will not be able to challenge Kickstarter. And then Kickstarter has a couple of very unfortunate events, unfortunate decisions, and then now these two platforms are challenging each other, and the Kickstarter has their problem. And now they are trying to react. As I said, I would prefer them to react with the new functions and features, but let's start with the lack of trust in the platform.
Yeah, they even, talk about that, this lack of trust in the platform, or this negativity toward Kickstarter kind of started around the time when they announced the CEO, Aziz Hassan, announced that the company would be moving their platform to blockchain technology, which literally was like, huh? Like everybody went, huh? I mean, first of all, blockchain is weird, right? It's hard to really understand. And Bitcoin is based on blockchain. And people talk about that blockchain is not necessarily good for the environment because it uses huge amounts of computing power. Maybe, sure, we can discuss that kind of thing. But it was like, why would a platform that simply you put up projects, you get bids on projects, you do projects, you have a back end that you got to help your customers. Why the heck would they need to deal in blockchain technology? So that was when immediately the GameFound CEO, friend of yours, his name again is, if you don't mind,
Marcin Świergot.
Marcin. He said, we're going to just make our platform the best platform out there and not use dumb buzzwords, that other people are trying to do. We're going to give you the best features. And I said, I was like, thank you for like saying whatever is in everybody else's head. It's like, what do we care if your platform, what functionality, what features are you going to give both the creators and the gamers and all of the customers that come there, right? And they literally said nothing about that. And let's face it, Kickstarter looks like it's something that was developed in the 1970s or 80s. Like it's like this like bulletin board of just texts, and it's just not good on any level. They make so much money and they haven't improved it in a material way. And that's why GameFound came out. And then that's why crowdfunding by BackerKit.
Yep.
Right. And now everyone's getting more and more shares. Ignacy is going to win his bet this year that they're going to steal enough market share to be more than 15% of the total crowdfunding. So it's crazy. So now they've hired somebody who's going to be in charge of improving the platform, and I hope that they do it. And by the way, I believe that I have met in the past. I know John Ritter Roderick. I'm pretty sure that we've met in the past. I really hope that he can help bring more trust in the platform. More competition is good, right? And basically, in the end, that's sort of the thing you want to have happen. Not one place to go, but people are competing to get the best place to go.
You were complaining a lot in the past 3 minutes. Everything is okay?
I'm very fine, thank you. I'm not complaining.
Yeah, we don't want to make a perception that we are not happy, because we are happy with every change. If this change makes sense, very good. Congratulations to Mr. Roderick to get this new function, and we hope he will bring a great value. But the whole press release is like very weird once again. Like he says that he will be the ambassador for the messages for the Kickstarter. Like me as a creator, I don't need an ambassador. I need the new features. I need new functions. I need a better service for my needs. And therefore, I will be their ambassador, and every other creator will be their ambassador, because we'll be praising the platform. So this is how I see it in my Slavic point of view, but fingers crossed that it will help somehow.
Yep. And now with all that negativity, let's get over to strategy and tactics. Kurt von Hoyveld, who's Vitruvian Gamer. I know Vitruvian Gamer. I've seen his tag out there. Congrats on going over 200 episodes. Who thought it would happen? How is the process of choosing the artwork for a board game cover? Do you tell the artist to implement certain things in the artwork for sure, or do they create a piece without any directions? So you pick art they made for a card or other components. He's asking about how we go and do the artwork for board game covers and possibly using other artwork for cards. Describe, Ignacy, that process a little bit.
So in many cases, we as a publishers, we are using already existing artwork. So we are browsing by different galleries and we see, oh, this is a great piece. It will work well on our cover. Sometimes we give a very precise information to the artist how this cover must look, and rather rarely this is a free form for the illustrator, because the publisher needs this game to sell well, and publishers know what he needs on this cover. So it is a less free form art. In most cases, it is either already existing art that we are buying and putting on the cover, or we are in a very direct contact with the artist and we say exactly what we need from this cover. So it was true for Detective, for Vienna Connection, for Dune, for Batman. It was true for Cry Havoc. So for us, we treat it very, very seriously, and we don't let it into the hands of the artist, if I can say that way, that we just say, do whatever you want, we love your work. It's not like that.
Over at Stronghold, we would tell the artist, this is the vision that we have for the cover. And they would, first, sometimes they would say, well, how about this? Something slightly different. And so we would work with them on the vision, and then they would start the process. And then similarly for cards, you would say, we need these cards, and this is what we want on the card. And we'd have a card manifest. And then you would then give the, this is the card's name, this is what the card does, and this is what we want the picture to show. And then they would come back. So it's an iterative process with the artist to get to these points. Jeremiah Brahmer, at Jeremiah Brahmer. Sorry if these questions have been asked before. That's okay. We'll take them again. It was episode 2. Just keep giving us good questions. What's something you like about one of your games, either designed by you or published by you, that the public doesn't like, or vice versa? So then he has another question. What do you think, Ignacy? What's something that you like about something you've done, designed or published, that the public didn't like?
Yeah, I see on many times on the forums or Facebook groups that in Robinson Crusoe, when you draw a card, you see the effect of this card, what will happen in the future. So you have a spoiler of how this card will work in the future when you draw it again. And many players try to not read this to be surprised. And they say they draw the card, read only the upper part, and try to not read the down part because they want to be surprised. The one I designed this game with the thing in mind that, yes, I want them to know the whole picture and then shuffle this card so they know what will come. So this is one of those little details that the players try to play other way than I designed. I respect that. This is their game. I want them to have fun, but they are playing a slightly different than I intended.
Overall, for me, my answer is going to be that the game Bear Valley, which was by Carl Chuddick game. He did Matainai and Glory to Rome. He's a very thinky designer. He designed a game called Bear Valley, which is not very thinky. It's a fun. There's a bunch of rules in there that you got to follow, so it's not like it's light, but it's just a fun game of trying to escape. You're lost in the valley and trying to escape. And people did not embrace it the way that I did, and I love it. I still to this day will rip it out and play it. It's the definition of I don't have to run faster than the bear. I have to run faster than you. Yeah. Because bears show up and you might get attacked, and you've got to find machetes to cut through this, and you've got to find the right path, and you're putting down cards. I just love the aspect. You don't play it cooperatively. You're kind of trying to throw the other person under the bus to get out, to find the final camp to leave. So that was something that was not really embraced by gamers, but I really enjoyed the game. What are some websites to help a new designer who wants to be a publisher? Well, my first thing I'm going to say, Jeremiah, is don't become a publisher. It's so crowded in the field right now. It's just so hard. And it's not because we don't want the competition. It's just too hard to get yourself noticed these days. If you're a designer, I think you should go with known companies, get that design as perfect as it can be, and pitch it to the company that's doing, or companies that are doing games like that are doing games like your game. If you're doing heavy Euros, go to those companies. Doing party games, you go to those companies. Ignacy, you agree with that? And in general, do you have some website ideas for a designer who wants to be a publisher, possibly? Some advice?
www.don'tdoit.com. No, seriously, it's such a mess these days with the logistic hell, with the powers down in China, with COVID still in China, with distribution changes all the time between the Asmodee and other partners. Like, you will not believe how much things are happening here behind the scenes, and either you have some experience, either you know really how to do it, either it will be a dreadful years for you to learn this in a really, really hard way. So design a couple of great games like Wingspan, sell 200,000 copies of these games, and you don't need to be a publisher.
And really, some of the best places, if you really wanted some advice on how to do this and things, Board Game Geek has got forums for everything, including people who have gone through the process. And obviously, you're going to use a crowdfunding platform to do your, to get your funding. And that really tests the market. That's why crowdfunding and Kickstarter in the beginning, and now we have 3. That's why it's so important to utilize that, because you end up seeing if the market wants your game. Because what if they don't? And you printed 5,000 copies or 3,000 or even 1,000? You're in trouble. You just wasted a lot of money. So Board Game Geek is probably going to be your friend for almost every question you have, or listen to this podcast throughout the years, because we've answered many, 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 many questions that you need to know. Scott Hill, who's at Scorpion0x17, 2 related questions. Should, in your opinion, content creators use their platform to express personal opinions regarding social matters? And if a content creator does use their platform to express personal opinions regarding social matters, is it then valid for a publisher to ask that content creator to separate their personal opinions from their content creation before the publisher will send them review copies? That's a big can of worms, Ignacy. What do you think about content creators and social?
I think that we both are content creators. We create a podcast. I was also a vlogger. Sometimes I was very vocal on different matters that bothered me, and I used my platforms either here on Board Games Insider. Sometimes we were saying something that were important for us. The same in a vlog. So I don't see that we should not. Of course, I cannot imagine myself that, for instance, Tom Vassell reviews my game. In the middle of the game, he has a statement, and then he continues to review the game. Like, this is a different situation. But I don't think that we as a human should hide our beliefs or our things. So I'm rather open, and Steven was also very open in the past few years. So
I made some very strong statements about getting vaccinated. And for the most part, we got very, very, very positive reviews of that. And I will say it again, get vaccinated. You need to be vaccinated against COVID. And I will stand by that. We also took positions extremely solidly on Black Lives Matter and things like that. So we do that. Now, the second part of his question is that, should a content creator be asked to remove or separate their reviews from the content before the publisher review? I mean, should a publisher then go to a content creator and tell them to do something about their opinion? The answer to I'm going to be very, very, very quick on this one. The answer is no. So if a content creator is saying something that a publisher doesn't like, or anybody doesn't like, you simply don't use the content creator, right? Whatever that opinion might be, on any social matter. If the publisher would just not send a game, or you, as the listener, would not support that content creator if you don't like what they're saying. It's simple as that. You don't have to go up in arms. It's essentially a speak with your dollars, right? You buy games because you like a game. You go and you do this because you support, whatever it is in the market. If the content creator is saying things that are socially unacceptable to you, don't support them. Walk away. There are a million out there.
Yep, and I really rather prefer content creators to be open,
sure,
than to be just like fake persona in front of the camera, to not say anything about their beliefs, and then on their Facebook you will find out that he's some crazy dude having some crazy beliefs. So no, I'm about being open and honest, and this is what we are doing here in the podcast for years.
Indeed. So MG Freud, who is Freudio, he's a very, very interesting question here. He says, when learning accounting, who said that we learned it? I did, of course. You're eventually taught the concept of intangible assets like goodwill, brand power, brand loyalty, etc. Do board game companies track or try to give valuations to their intangible assets? So I don't know that Ignacy would even know exactly the answer to this question, but obviously we all talk about brand loyalty and how we develop a brand and things like that. But in accounting, in actual called GAAP accounting, is the way it's termed. It's generally accepted accounting principles, which I believe are, if they're not used worldwide, they're certainly used almost worldwide. Goodwill is something that can be placed on your books of your company. It's done due to the sale of the company and portions of the company. It's not something that you just say, well, our goodwill is worth $1 million. No, it gets there under an accounting principle. You just don't increase it. At least that's not my understanding. If there's a CPA out there that would like to change that. When you sell a large asset that was valued at X and all of a sudden you sold it for 5 times that, you may have to put goodwill onto your books. There are ways of this happening, and I apologize to all the accountants out there saying, oh, Bond, of course, saying it wrong. It's just not in the top of my head at the moment. I'm sorry. So your company is valued at whatever your company is valued at. You use accounting principles to balance the books. When I sold Stronghold, it sold for more than book value because there was goodwill built in general terms, and there was brand loyalty built in general terms, or there was a future value of the cash flows, we're really getting technical here, of what the buyer, Indie Boards and Cards, would believe that it was worth. So all of those things go into your valuation. Ignacy, any comment on that crazy amount of boring business talk there?
Yeah, if an accountant has some free time and would like to make an exercise and count the goodwill of Ignacy Trzewiczek, give me the numbers. But the other part of the question, like he's saying, and I think that he's right, that the fact that I'm the face of the company or you are the face of the Stronghold Games, this is added value to it. And exactly what you just mentioned, this is one thing is books, the numbers, and then how the company operates with this person being a frontman of the company. So this is very interesting. I don't know how much value this face has, but I guess very, very big.
Yeah, that was the second part of the question you went right into, is right. The company personas, Ignacy or Stephen, when I was at Stronghold, it's an asset. We believe, we hope it is an asset. And he mentions Stonemaier Games, obviously with Jamie being an asset there. A very different kind. He stays behind the scenes, but he does his videos and stuff like that. I think that the answer is yes, they are assets, but those assets don't get, again, placed on the books. If somebody, what is the value, right? I mean, this is a general question, and we're going to go just a few seconds more. Ignacy is telling me we got to move on, but What is the value of a company? The value of a company is whatever someone's willing to pay for it. Simple as that, right? There's a great person once said to me, there are a dozen ways to value a company. Pick the one that works for you. All of them are wrong, so just pick the one that works for you. Because literally you can value it on future cash flows. You can value it on your assets. You can value this. There are many ways you blend these things together to create a value if you're going to sell it, right? And it only makes sense if you're going to sell it, right? Public companies, right? Apple or General Motors or all these companies that are out there, they have a market value. It's called market capitalization. You take the stock that's outstanding, the total number of shares, you multiply it by the stock price, you have the market. That's what the market believes it is worth. And then I own a share and I sell it. There it is. That's the price that I can sell it at. When you own a privately held company or any private asset, the value is whatever the market bears. So that's a very long thing to say, yes, Ignacy's company has value because Ignacy is in it, because he's an amazing spokesman for it. I believe that during the Stronghold days, I was an amazing spokesman for Stronghold Games. That part doesn't exist. Ignacy still does. When he sells it, he'll probably, if Ignacy ever sells his company and retires like Bonacor, he will get money based on the fact that he's going to stay with the company for a few years or more and continue to do the right things until he retires. And that's going to be built into the whole thing. So that was a very interesting question. And now I believe it is time not to go to playtesting, right, Ignacy? Because we only put the question out there for like 1 day, 24 hours ago. So we only have 4 answers. So we're going to let it sit there and people can talk about it some more. So we'll wait on playtesting until next episode. So we'll go directly to the final score. Thank you all so much for listening. Help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their audio podcasts, or now watch Board Games Insider on the Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel. To ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment, you must post them in the correct thread in our guild on Board Game Geek. And to answer our question to you from our playtesting segment, also go to our guild on Board Game Geek and look for the thread with this episode's question. Board Games Insider has a Facebook page, so please like us on Facebook. Also on Facebook, please like Ignacy's page and Steven's page, which are /PortalGamesUS and /PodfatherGaming. Our websites are portalgamesus.com and podfathergaming.com. Go there, sign up for the newsletters, get up-to-the-minute information on what's happening at Portal Games and with the Podfather. On social media, you can speak directly to Ignacy and Steven. On Twitter, it's @PortalGamesUS and @PodfatherGaming. Same thing as on Instagram, and the YouTube channel names are Portal Games Movies, Portal Games Gameplays, and the Podfather of Gaming. On TikTok, Portal Games US. I hope to see you at the World Series of Board Gaming in Las Vegas on September 28th to October 2nd. Ignacy hopes to see you, and I'll see you in Essen just a week after that. October, what is it, Ignacy? 5th through 8th, I believe. And Ignacy, we got it. What's that?
Very soon. I know. I just know it's very soon. Everybody's panicking here.
Soon, panic. Ignacy, you and I, mostly you, have to figure out when we're going to have our little baby meetup, or just an hour or two that we can announce here that we'll hang out in the booth, we'll sit, sign autographs, and talk to fans. And they can deliver cookies and beer if they so desire. They don't have to.
We can already say it will be most likely Saturday because most people come for the weekend. So we will not do it on Thursday when people are still at work. So we will look for the Saturday and just we will provide more details.
That's a great day because some people leave on Sundays, right? Yep. And some people don't get there till Saturdays. I think most people do get there early, but we'll hit the high point. We'll pick a time on Saturday. We'll have an hour, whatever amount of time. I'll stand there the entire time, talk to you guys, and it'll be great. I gotta go get a promo or something, a Podfather promo for everybody. I'll figure something out. All right, guys. And of course, Board Games Insider is professionally edited by Matthew Jude from This Game is Broken podcast. If you'd like him to edit your podcast, contact him on Twitter or email at thisgameisbrokenpodcast@gmail.com. That beautiful voice you hear doing the intro, outro, and in-between segments is that of Ray Greenlee. He can be contacted to do voiceover work for you at raygreenleevoiceover.com. Ignacy, I see you wrote something here special for everybody.
Yeah, because I just reminded myself about very important things. So I want to mention this at the end of the podcast. And it says, as always, we have a special unique bonuses for our Essen pre-orders, including this year a free playing mat for Basilica. So check out portalgamesus.com to see our Essen offer. Every year, we have some promos, some unique gadgets, some bonuses to our games at Essen. So if you are going to Essen, if you want to pre-order it, check out portalgamesus.com. This year, my production team prepared some unique bonuses for you, so check them out.
That's cool. And the only way to get that, at least, well, as a free mat,
is to mat only at Essen. Yep.
And you get it for Basilica, a basilica, like a cathedral, a beautiful religious place. Very nice. Ignacy, thank you. And thank you, all listeners out there. We really appreciate it. We'll speak to you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.